All right, to get us in perspective, we are now being joined by political analyst and radio show host Garland Nixon, live from Maryland, United States. Mr. Nixon, good to see you again. I've been constantly talking to you throughout the campaign trail. With just a week to go, what are you going to look for in the next 7 days?
Well, I'm going to look for any kind of outstanding event or outstanding news item that could possibly affect the voters. It would not surprise me. As you know, one of the things I talk about is the infamous, and it is discussed in the U.S., is the infamous October surprise. Is there going to be some kind of something that's released by one of the candidates that paints the other candidate in a bad light? I think at this point, I think the issues are set with the Trump campaign. Their issues are economics, particularly household economics and inflation, and to some extent foreign policy. I think the Harris campaign, they're set on the issue of access to abortion more so than anything else. So I think the things are set. Some of the numbers, what's interesting now is that there's a lot of people showing up for early voting. Traditionally, early voting swings heavily towards the Democratic candidate. However, this year it seems to be about even, maybe a little bit in some areas leaning towards the Republicans. The Republicans are seeing that as a positive sign, but at this point, we don't know.
Right. Mr. Nixon, I also want to gauge what you think of these comments we are hearing from Donald Trump. I'll quickly quote him. He said, "United States is a country that needs religion. Christians are being persecuted in America."
Well, that is, of course, he's playing strongly to his base. I think Donald Trump realizes that, you know, in order, as I say, as an analyst, in order for a politician to win, they have to do three things. Number one, turn out their base. Number two, turn out their base. Number three, turn out their base. And I think he wants to invigorate his base and get them out there feeling that the numbers of independents are strong enough that if he gets a really strong turnout of his base, I think he feels that he can take it. So that's all that is about. I think Trump also realize that there are a lot of people that are Trump voters that are, as we say, they're going to have a clothespin on their nose. There are a lot of people that are going to vote for Trump holding their nose. They don't really like him. They don't really support him. But I think the issue of economics has upset people enough that there are people that are going to vote for Trump that aren't really Trump supporters per se in the traditional political perspective.
Right, and in the other camp, Kamala Harris is, of course, preparing for the big campaign night in Washington, D.C., and what's symbolic is that it's in the same site. It's going to happen on the same site as the site used by Donald Trump, which then led to the January 6th, riots. What do you think we can expect from tonight?
I expect, particularly since they're choosing the January 6th site, I expect that the rhetoric will be heavy anti-Trump. It will be very strong from the perspective of Donald Trump as a threat. I think they will use the background of January 6th to, as I don't know any way to put it, to kind of scare voters and say, if Donald Trump wins, you know, he'll do terrible things and, you know, he could be a threat to our democracy, as they say. So I think her angle is going to be Donald Trump is a problem and a threat, and you need to vote for him to preserve democracy and to protect our way of life, our political stability.
Right, and I have to tell you, for someone who's viewing these elections from outside of America, it's interesting how both the candidates are pitching their rival as the destroyer of America. Of course, Ms. Nixon, I'll continue to discuss all of these developments with you as elections approach. Thank you so much for joining us and getting us your insights as always. Good to speak to you.
Thank you for inviting me.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.